So, I love dal. I make a million kinds of dal. You guys have seen me make dal before, just a simple tadka dal with masoor or yellow lentils, which are actually orange before you boil them and then turn yellow. So this, what I'm making today isn't a traditional tadka dal, but it still has Indian ingredients in it, and I just got bored of it. So I added a couple of twists and then left out things like curry leaves. There's no garlic in this dal. Once we make it, you guys will tell me what you think. But this is also from Tangy Tart, so if you want the recipe, it's in the book Tangy Tart Hot and Sweet. So we went ahead and we boiled 3 cups of masoor, or yellow or orange lentils. There's like various names, but the dal is masoor, is orange, it will turn yellow. And then you want to rinse the dal or lentils. You want to rinse them until all that foam is gone and the water is mostly clear. This takes a bit. And then you just want to put it in a deep pot like this and put about 2 inches of water, okay? And you're going to cook that down with just a teaspoon of salt and a couple of bay leaves, 1 or 2 bay leaves, depending on the size. And again, 2 inches of water where the lentils stop in the pan. And then you just want to cook that. You would bring it to a boil, turn it very low, and cook it for about 45 minutes. Masoor dal cooks very quickly, so you don't have to soak it, you don't have to do anything like that. So I normally would not use olive oil to do a tadka. I would do canola oil or some sesame oil or some neutral oil. I'm using olive oil in this recipe again because I wanted to kind of take it out of a purely Indian tadka recipe. It has coconut, it has ginger and cumin, but it also has some other things in it that you'll see in a second. Add about a teaspoon of cumin seeds. The cumin is starting to color and sizzle a little bit. And once that happens, you're going to add your chopped shallot. So we cook a bunch of different ones. In the South, we do them with coconut, which I'm going to add also here today. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we add spinach. Sometimes we add a bunch of things. But there are like 100,000 recipes. Maybe not 100,000, but there are a shit ton of recipes about dal. Lentils are a staple of the Indian diet, no doubt. And I love lentils. They give you protein, they're brain food, they have a low carbon footprint, all of it. And it's so yummy. Okay, so I've been cooking this shallot for just a couple of minutes. And you can see they're getting nice and sauteed and glassy. And to that, I'm adding a good 1.5 tablespoons, like a heaping tablespoon of minced fresh ginger. We've only been cooking this for 2 or 3 minutes, but they're getting nice and colored. And to this, I'm adding some shredded fresh coconut. And this is a great vegan recipe for those of you who want to stay vegan. All you have to do is add rice to this, and you have a complete meal and a very nutritious one. Add your tomatoes and let that cook down for about 5 minutes, and we're going to add curry powder to that as well. I'm using the Dross Sambar curry. I like 777 brand or Agmark brand. It comes in a little yellow box or canister in the Indian store. Normally I wouldn't put sambar powder into tadka dal, which is, has a different taste. But again, this is not a traditional dal. It's a very big riff on tadka dal. You need to stir that up. And you also want to add a pinch. Now we added about a teaspoon of salt to the dal when it's boiling just with the water, but you want to add just a smidge there, like 1/2 teaspoon to the tomatoes. Because it's important when you're cooking to salt everything just a little bit. And remember, you can always add salt, so be conservative. I like my food pretty seasoned, but I try to be mindful of what other people's tastes are. And again, if you add it slowly at different stages of cooking, I think it's better for the overall dish and its flavor, but it's also a way to control the salt intake a bit better. This is the shallot and tomato with ginger. Okay, and then I'm putting this over here. And remember, this is pretty thick, so we have also some bay leaves in here. So you want to find the bay leaves as you're mixing. So you want to remove the bay leaves. In this case, we only added one because it was big. And just let this cook for like 5 or 8 minutes, just so the tomato flavor can get into the lentils. So I'm just using an immersion blender to make this a more smooth soup. There's no cream in this, there's no butter in this is completely vegan. And all I'm doing is just pureeing the lentils so that it'll have this creamy texture. And to this, all you're going to add is some cilantro. Save some for garnish. And dried Angelino plums. This is going to give it a sweet and tart flavor that is going to lift it up from being just a regular boring lentil soup or a regular boring dal. Remember, we have the shredded coconut that we fried with the shallots and the ginger, which will also give it a nice yummy taste. And then these, we just chop these, okay? So that's all you want to do. So this is how my day's going. I forgot to use this pot, which is what I wanted to do to show you guys this pot that I love, which is from Tierra Negra, and I love cooking beans and lentils in this, but I totally forgot. But I'm still gonna serve it in here. You don't want to cook anything on a high heat on this pot, but you do want to simmer things like beans boiled in this. Tastes delicious. And then you just want to squeeze a little bit of lemon juice, a couple of tablespoons. A little bit on top. And I know it doesn't look like much, it's just like lentils, but just adding the shredded coconut, a little bit of the sambar powder, as well as the dried Angelino plums and cilantro, just makes this a really comforting, yummy bowl of soup or served over rice. But honestly, I would just have a big, big bowl of this and serve it up with some toast, sourdough toast. And there you go, another version of dal. And in the book, for some reason, it says to use 2 kinds of tomatoes, but you don't need to. I mean, I said that because I do think that different types of tomatoes taste differently. And so in the recipe in the book, it says to add plum tomatoes as well as cherry tomatoes. And it says just to quarter them because you want them to fall apart. You can chop the plum tomatoes more so that they cook down faster with the cherry tomatoes, or just use 1 kind of tomato. It really doesn't matter. I was much more persnickety back 15 years ago.
Nice.